Ferdi Salvador, and welcome to Industry Beacon, where we shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, the titans of industry shaping our future. We're not just talking about success stories, we are diving deep into their hearts and minds to see what drives them. This morning, we pay homage to one of the pillars of modern Philippine art. Justin Nuyda unfortunately lost his battle to cancer in 2022. But his masterpieces remain full of life, and every brushstroke and striking color tells a story of how he saw the world. Here with us today is his daughter, Ayni Nuyda, daughter of Filipino artist Justin Nuyda. She is also the founder and project director of Search Mindscape Foundation. Good morning, Ayni. How are you today?
Good morning, Ferdi. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's a pleasure for us to be talking to you today and talking about the legacy that your father has left us. So, everybody wants to know, tell us the background story of this great artist you call your father.
My father came from humble beginnings. A lot of people didn't know that his passion before becoming an artist was truly butterflies.
Yes.
And the art of butterfly collecting, which was passed on by his father and his uncles. But my father took it on a scientific route. So
he took it to a different level.
Yes.
Based on our research, he's discovered how many butterflies?
Over 100 species and subspecies of Philippine butterflies.
Can you imagine that? I mean, from artist to scientist, it's truly amazing.
Exactly. And art was his means to fund his butterfly expeditions.
Wow.
Because kung walang pera sa art, mas walang pera sa science back in the day.
Well, you know what? He is a hero both in the art world and the scientific world. But tell us, your father has just, well, if he's with us right now, well, he's still not with us right now, but he would have turned 80, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so humble beginnings, art, and stuff like that. He's also part of, I would say, a movement, which is the Saturday Group, which is comprised of at least 8 national artists, hopefully 9.
Right.
It's not a bit, but we're just saying, hopefully, maybe 9.
Yes, Ferdi. And that's one of the things we wanted to pay tribute to in this exhibit that we have.
Tell us about the exhibit. This is your love letter?
Yes, pretty much. And also an homage to not only my father as an artist,
yes,
but to also give highlight as to who he was as an individual and pay tribute to the people and the relationships that honed him to be the artist and the person that he is.
Right. Tell me about your journey with your dad. I mean, you know, I can't relate because, you know, I'm not a child of an artist. How was it for you?
I think it was such a privilege and an honor to grow up with an artist who was very had a high value for a sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing to see that from a child growing up because he also had a lot of artist peers and they're all pretty much like parents to me as well.
Yes, of course. I mean, he's, you know, the likes of Ben Cab, I'm sure, you know, it's so casual for you to see them in your house, you know, breaking bread with your father, which, by the way, is a good cook. You know,
yes.
He's from Bicol.
And this is the reason why we had this collaboration with Hapag in the first place, is to give that light towards the human side of being an artist, which is often overlooked nowadays with all the gallery exhibits that you see around.
We'll get to that. We'll get to a little bit of your thoughts on that. But as a daughter of an artist like Justin Nuyda, when you see art pieces in people's homes or in their collections, how do you feel about that? What kind of emotions does it bring out from you?
I feel blessed and inspired to see a person appreciated so well in the realm of art. I mean, with the advent of all his very loyal collectors as well, it's such a very, you know, oozy and warm feeling to kind of experience, to see him live through his art and the people that has his art.
Yes, he's a very good collaborator for a lot of course, famous artists like himself. But let's talk about, the Philippines has been experiencing for the past couple of years a surge in collecting. And of course, with collecting, there's also a twin, the commercial side of it, right? And I'm quite happy that artists right now, especially let's say art in the park artists that are just starting out, like your father back in the day, art's become very lucrative, let's say. I mean, and it's not a bad thing. It's an amazing thing because it means to say there's value in our art based on the commercial value or the cents and the pesos that go into collecting or exchanges of. How do you feel about that when your father's pieces are passed on from one collector to the next, or from one household to the next, or from one gallery to the next, or even an auction house?
I think it plays a good role in culture and heritage as well, that his artworks are also being passed down in the line of history. I feel like, art reflects culture and culture reflects art. So how the art market thrives today and how it seems to approach art in different levels just manifest or pretty much gives us a good idea of how art is just so versatile more than ever now.
But there's just recently a record-breaking purchase in an auction house of a national artist, and it's amazing how it reached that amount of money because number one, it's wow, right? And number two, it also pushes the value of other artists, in the same caliber or within the same realm. In the commercial aspect,
correct,
right? They're what you call flippers,
right?
There's a term, right?
Unfortunately.
Yes. Why is it unfortunate?
Well, the reason why, for example, the likes of Omar Solo's works increased in value, it wasn't done overnight.
Yes.
These are people, including my father and his peers, who have dedicated their lives into perfecting their craft. So it took more than decades, even half a century, to be the people that they are. And with art, I believe, and perhaps some others would agree with me too, that art is tested by time. And with the idea of flippers and all of these unfortunate players in the art industry, which is also the reality, unfortunately, is that it can be problematic in the future because...
In what sense? Yeah.
Because genuine collectors are what truly increases the value of art. So,
okay. It's not the exchange of the value
no,
of
not
the piece.
necessarily. When the art is simmered into someone's collection, they play a very crucial role in creating the narrative and the stories behind the art. And so that increases the value over time. So it's almost like an artifact. The more people get to appreciate it, the more it stays genuine to the art on its own, then that's where the value comes in.
So, obviously, do you prefer this to be the path of your father's pieces?
Of course. This is the reason why our estate don't charge for authenticity documents, because we believe that provenance is key.
Yes.
And that documentation and all of these papers that come with the artwork does not precede the art.
So, notwithstanding, of course, just your father's pieces, I mean, in a general sense, do you think that art being passed on rapidly because of their commercial value disrupts the heritage value or the simmering of artwork in that aspect?
I mean, at the end of the day, I would always like to see it from what the motive is.
Okay, tell us about that.
If the motive is for the art to be passed on with the intention of passing it on because they want to give it to their children, their daughters, their sons, or for example, it's gonna be held in a museum, then I feel like that would add value.
Yes, because there's some artists. We're not going to name any of them, obviously, because that is their practice and they have the right to do so. But some artists actually have an agreement,
right,
wherein you're not allowed to sell their pieces after X amount of years.
Right.
I guess it's to protect.
Yes, and that's the unfortunate.
Do you agree? It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate that they even feel the need to. So it already assumes that the collector already has that possibility of becoming a flipper, and it's a sad type of trust issues that we're revolving in the industry now.
Do you think people that have the means to do so? Because I'm sure some of them are going to react to our statements. However, do you think there is a positive side to that?
Well, the only positive is that there's instant gratification as far as someone earning. But in the long run, as far as the artist's career is concerned, it's gonna be problematic.
Right. Do you think it's prevalent at the moment?
I think maybe now more than before, because
because you're based on our conversation off cam, I asked you what's the difference with the artwork during your dad's time and current, right?
Yes.
So the collectors actually collect because
they love art.
Yes.
And I think one of the reasons why we held this exhibit is also to remind collectors why they collect art in the first place.
Yes. And I'm not going to ask you how much you evaluate your pieces right now for your father's collection, but you told me in the beginning he would sell a piece for 250 pesos.
I know, all of his peers did. And that's the wonderful thing about the collectors of the past, is that they did not see the amount as the means of why they would purchase an artwork. But because times are changing, the landscape has developed over the years.
Yes.
So many players come in and out. It's actually it's a difficult space to navigate in.
Let me leave you that right now. We're gonna just gonna take a quick break, and Industry Beacon will be right back. Stay with us.
Your newest source of news and information.
That's it?
Follows you everywhere, every day.
Wow.
Oh, man.
On cable and free TV. Online.
He joins us from the Batasan Pamasan.
On mobile.
Simulan na natin ang agenda. No,
This is BNC, and we are everywhere.
Good morning, Attorney Karen.
Good morning, Attorney Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Miss Karen.
Good morning, Karen.
Such a pleasure to be here. If Sara Duterte runs for president, will you be supporting her?
That will be my problem.
Has anything changed?
Of course it has changed.
Okay, it's something that you would consider. No. How would you rate administration?
I think a 6 or a 7.
Anong masasabi natin dyan?
He's not even denying it. So we know kung sino yung mga involved.
Welcome back. You're still watching Industry Beacon here on BNC. Still with us is Ayni Nuyda. So we're talking about collections and from the past and current. You've got a passion for educating people in terms of art. Tell us about that.
Well, if I can't make art, maybe promote art.
Yes, how so?
In a sense that we run a nonprofit. It's called Search Mindscape Foundation. And it was established initially to fund art residencies outside the Philippines.
Wow.
But the pandemic happened, 2020 happened, and everything was just at a limbo. Travel was not accessible at all. And so one of our very first projects is actually Fifth Wall Fest, which is the Philippines' first dance film festival, which is now an international movement platform. It's running on its 5th year now, and it explores movement from different angles, which is something that we would love to support. I mean, we are big, firm believers of art in public spaces, because even at a very young age, 3 or 5, they can access and, peer into their imagination.
That's very important. I
Yes.
mean, imagination creates artists, creates business people. It's very integral to a person's development.
Correct.
Are you into perhaps educating new collectors, or for example, me, when I bought my first art, I was like, what am I doing? Do I go for the expensive one? Do I go for the popular artist? What am I supposed to do? But over time, I've learned, collect what you like, right? But obviously, I'm not educated in movements like modernism of this and
Right.
stuff like that. Are you an advocate to educate collectors at any age of what they're buying, whether it's a popular artist or a legacy artist or even a national artist?
I think not just only collectors, but also with artists. I think it's so important to be very well informed of what you buy or what you purchase, and at the same time, it's a symbiosis also with what the artists produce. So in the foundation, looking forward, this is something that we really want to peer into, because a lot of the information has been gate-kept. Art is a very beautiful industry to be in, because also of its lack of transparency.
Oh, there we go again.
But
Expound on that. You brought it up.
But the thing is, but it shouldn't be a situation wherein if you know, you know. I think that's also detrimental to to the promotion and the development of Philippine art in general. So there should be a fine line between, knowing your bases, knowing where to go, who are the resource persons to talk about in collecting these estates, for example, because it's easy if the artist is alive because they're there to verify, but then it would be difficult when the artist has passed too.
Where can the public see your dad's pieces and with this exhibit of yours?
Right. So this collaboration with Hapag is in the 7th floor of Balmori Suites. And what I find so special about this collab is that it is an unorthodox space. It's more of a space for dining. But for those people who know my dad very well, food is something that you cannot take away from him, because he's a special cook on his own. And some of the recipes of Hapag is inspired by him, his life, his colors, and as well as
a science.
facets, all as a science, because we feel like culinary is also an art form on its own. And we want to create a more experiential approach to art.
I hope people get to experience that and encourage them to come and check out your dad's pieces. Very quickly, lessons learned from your father. Very quickly.
Stay humble.
Nice.
And always look back into your roots and where you came from.
Okay, wonderful. And we're excited and we're very proud that you're educating Filipinos about art. And I hope they subscribe to your foundation, and so that, education always breeds a wider world for people. Last question, what's your greatest mistake?
Maybe not spending more time with my father in his last years.
That's heartfelt. Thank you so much, Ayni, for joining us today here, and we hope to see more of you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
It's my pleasure. And that is it for today's show. I'm Ferdi Salvador. Catch the Billionaire News channel on Free TV channel 31 and on cable via Signal channel 24. Thanks for watching the Billionaire News channel. Always on top, and have a happy weekend, everyone.
At BNC, morning means business. The numbers and the stories that drive the economy and shape the world on Basis Points. Weekdays, 9:30 a.m. Cultivate a growth mindset and see where your finances is taking you on Follow the Money. Weekdays, 10:30 a.m. The stories behind successful micro, small, and medium enterprises on